Welcome to another video from Lockdown Electronics with me, Bill. This time we've got another review, so if reviews aren't your thing, maybe move on to something else right now. Otherwise stick around. Kaiweets asked me if I'd review their soldering station, and ordinarily I probably wouldn't have wanted to review something like that, as I don't do a great deal of soldering. Do occasionally build kits. If you're a regular viewer, you'll have seen that, but I had actually got a kit that had arrived, so I thought, yeah, okay. What really interested me as much as the soldering station was the fact they wanted to send me their lead-free solder as well. I'll put links to these in the description for you so you can see exactly what it is. Now, I've never actually used any lead-free solder before, not to my knowledge anyway, being a product of the 20th century and probably a bit of a Luddite in that respect. So we're going to see what all the fuss is about lead-free solder. I'm going to use this to build a kit, and by way of review you can then see what you think. So let's go to the bench and have a look what we've got. So I'm going to start in quite a strange way, because about 30 years ago I was at a radio rally and I realised I probably needed some more solder, so I bought this roll of solder, and as you can see that was full right to the edges of the spool, so I suppose I've used a reasonable amount in 30 years, but I'm just a hobbyist. I don't use it every day, and so that's probably going to last me now. Probably don't need any more solder. However, this of course is in the 1990s, of course, this is solder that contains lead. It's no longer possible to obtain that. In the UK, that was banned in 2006. And in the ensuing 17 years, I've seen quite a lot of adverse comments about lead-free solder. So this morning, as well as looking at the soldering station, Kaiweets have very kindly sent me some solder, which of course is lead-free. So I'm going to use that solder on a little circuit board project I need to build. I'm just going to see what it's like. Now, I've had a bit of a read about what lead-free solder is and what it does, and essentially the melting point appears to be higher, and it doesn't apparently flow quite so well. So I'll just see what I think. I not actually aware I've ever used it, and there's still, well, that's a 1 kilo spool, and there's probably still at least half a kilo on there, so I'm not likely to run out of that anytime soon. However, I do understand that people who use it every day in industry, you're being exposed to a hazard material, i.e. lead, so yeah, I can understand why there are concerns about that. So let's exchange that for that. This is the Kaiweets KOT936 soldering station. That's a little sketch of it built, and the station itself sits on a metal base, a couple of arms to hold things, and also a little magnifying glass. So I'm going to produce the contents of the box, put it together, and we'll see what we get. So there's the base plate, and there's a couple of rolls of solder there which the Kaiweets kindly sent me, so I'll be looking at using those later. So various bits and pieces which I'm going to get out and start setting up. This solder station does also come with some lead-free solder. However, I will use the other stuff for a comparison, and that is the magnifying glass. So and then in the rest of the box is the there's mains lead, which in my case has a UK plug on, the soldering iron itself, which is similar to the one that I made from a kit probably about 1.5 years ago, which I've actually been quite pleased with. So I'm going to speed up the video and not put you through too much pain as I assemble this. Okay, and by the magic of filmmaking, there's the base completed, 4 feet, and these 3 arms with these adjustable little sort of alligator clips here to hold the board, and then we've got a magnifying lens here which may or may not be useful. The soldering station itself, these 2 feet locate in those slots there, so that does actually give you quite a firm base to work with, so hopefully that's going to be that's going to stop it moving about substantially, which is good. On the front of the actual power supply here, which is quite meaty, got this rotary control, goes from 200 up to 480 centigrade. Appears to be a pot in there, a trim pot in there, to allow you to adjust the calibration for the heat somehow. And for those of you not metric, it does actually show the temperatures in Fahrenheit as well, so that's adjustable up like that. And then there's a DIN socket here for plugging the actual soldering iron in. So that's the arrangement. As I've mentioned already, you did see it briefly before. Soldering iron itself is actually very similar to the one which I used with the when I made the Danube kit. That plugs in notch up into there, and then we've also got, let's get in the picture for you, we've also got a stand here. I've put the cleaning material at the back there, but the iron will fit in there. Whether I'll keep that in there or whether I'll just use my other one, I don't know, but that's a reasonable hold there. And there's a pad that you can wet for cleaning the tip of the iron. For changing tips, you just simply unscrew that ring, slide over the cover, and then the tip just slides off the heating element there. I am going to change the tip. You get that very fine one included, along with another one that's very similar. There's a chisel tip, and then there's another 3 different sorts of tip. So I'm going to, if I can get that packet open, I'm going to change it for a small chisel tip there. So that just pops on over the heating element, and then that screws up, and hopefully that's going to be I'm going to be able to use that. I'm going to move that for a start. When that's in there, it doesn't touch the bottom if it's in there properly, so there's no danger of it melting this this hole glue, which is of course plastic. So I'm going to get this sponge wetted, and then we'll switch on and see what happens. Okay, here are I've put water on the sponge. Well, as soon as I put water on the sponge, its thickness increased about 4-fold, so that was quite impressive to see. And here are the solders which Kaiweets have also sent me. This is a separate item to the solder station itself. The solder station does include a roll of lead-free solder there, which it probably can last a hobbyist quite a while actually. So we'll use that, and there's 2 thicknesses here. We've got 0.6mm and we've got 1.2mm. Again, they're both flux core, I believe, lead-free solder. It says it's 99.3% tin, 0.7% copper. So make of that what you will. I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to plug in the solder station itself, and straight away the red light has come on, which you can't see, but you can see if I do that, and it's now gone out. I suspect that's because it's warmed up. Yeah, there we go. So when the iron's at temperature, that red light goes out. So I'm going to crease up to about just over, well, I'm going to go up to about 250, which I guess, looking at the Fahrenheit scale, that's somewhere between, that's about 530 or something according to this scale. And I can tell from the smell coming off the iron that she's warming up. So we'll unwrap the solder. Don't know how easy that's going to be with my large fingers. Might need a tool to do that with? Yes, I think we probably do, which I do happen to have handy. So let's, yep, there we go, that's the solder. So now I just need to find the end. There it is. Okay, so the iron's up to temperature, so I need to try and tin that a little bit if I can. And yeah, that's tinned, and it appears to have flowed over the yeah, seems to have flowed over the tip pretty well. So yeah, we'll just have to see what's what. It's hard to tell if that's really any different to leaded solder. So there we go, that's the iron itself. No complaints so far, looks pretty good. Let's now get hold of the circuit board I need to build. It's quite small, as you can see, and the actual what the circuit board's for, I'll make the subject of another video, as this one really is about how well this solder station actually does the job. So if you want to see that, I'll be producing a video in a few videos time looking at some accessories for the Microbit-X QRP radio rig. So there's the circuit board, so I'll just get set up and we'll have a look at how this is going to solder. Okay, so the only treatment I'm going to give the board is what I would normally do. I'm just going to put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol onto a paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe both sides of the board so that any residue from manufacture is hopefully removed. And then with that done, I'm now going to make a start on construction. Now it's a relatively simple kit to build. It's just mostly resistors. There is a couple of capacitors and the potentiometer there. There's a diode and also an LED and a switch. But the only semiconductors are the diode and well, the LED, of course, which goes to the other side of the board. So let's make use of these helping hands. I have to say, this isn't something I usually make a lot of use of. I don't get on with those things terribly well, but we'll see. So here we go. First attempt with some lead-free solder. Just make sure, yep, still up to temperature. Tip's nice and clean, so I'm going to apply that there. And yeah, it's not really wanting to melt that, so I'm going to increase the temperature a little bit. I do normally solder at about 300 with the other iron, the kit iron that I made. So maybe that's part of my problem. Yeah, that certainly seems to be melting it well on the tip. And I've also just noticed that the this stand, which I initially thought was plastic, actually isn't. It's actually metal, that is. So apologies, I'm not really paying attention there to what's going on around me. So let's now apply some heat and see if we can solder a joint. And yeah, not doing as well as I might. I probably need a finer tip. Yeah, okay, that's gone actually. So I have to say that wasn't that much difficult than my normal attempts at soldering. You probably already spotted that I'm not the world's greatest soldering expert by a very long way. Yeah, that one's gone fine too. Let's now do these top ones. Again, I think I probably do need a little bit. No, it's flown fine. Yeah, okay. It's just me being impatient with it. I think the finer tip might have helped. Yeah, they've both gone okay. So that's two of those resistors in. Let's now bend the legs of the third one, and yeah, you can see them there. So the third one goes on there, like so. And that is going to stay in place quite well. So before I cut any legs off, I'll just finish. There's so few components on this board, I might as well actually do that. So we'll go up the top edge there, apply the iron, and yeah, I'm getting more accomplished at this now. I think it's just practice with this tip, if I'm quite honest. That now seems to be working fine. I'm a bit of a Luddite when it comes to soldering irons. I just had a very boring one I bought from a hardware shop for many years that you can probably get better kit now. So yeah, there we go. Didn't do quite so well on that one. This is definitely Bill's soldering incompetence. Is that going to flow? I actually think probably need to have the iron a bit hotter, but it is, yeah, anyway, it's doing the job. So you can see I've now got 3 of the components on. There aren't too many more to go, so I won't bore you completely to death by showing you more and more. I'll just whiz on through and complete the board, and then we'll have a look at the finished job. Okay, well, I've been progressing the soldering, and since I've turned the temperature up, it's much better now. I clearly hadn't got sufficient temperature on. It was as simple as that, and I could probably, if I'm honest, also do with a smaller tip on here. I should probably have put one of the smaller ones on, but I'm just soldering the capacitors on now, and you can see with that slightly raised temperature, yeah, it's flowing very easily, and this is the kind of performance I'd expect from leaded soldering, which I've done in the past. It does actually say that one of the disadvantages of lead-free solder is the fact that you do need a higher temperature, and of course that can potentially damage components if you aren't careful. But there's the board so far. I've got to put the diode and the LED and the switch on. Switch actually I think fits on that side like that, and I'll look at the rest of the connections we're going to make on this circuit board when we actually when I actually do the video on what I'm going to use the circuit board for. If it's driving you daft, this is a resistive SWR bridge which I'm going to use with my QRP HF transceiver. So there you go. What do I think of Kaiweets soldering station? Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Seems to do the job nicely. I'm pleasantly surprised by how useful these arms are. Having said I don't get on with them terribly well, actually with both in use here, it's held the circuit board very steadily for me actually, and I've been able to solder without any trouble at all. So that's actually alright. I've not used the magnifying glass, but just to give you an example there, you can put it over there. I've got varifocal glasses on, and I'm actually looking through the bottom part of them so I can see the details of the circuit board clearly anyway, but that facility is there should you need it. Okay, I've just got all the main components on there. I'm just about to solder the switch in, and actually these little helping hand arms have come in rather well here. I've got the circuit board held with one of them, and I've got the switch held with the other, and that's just holding the switch tabs in place. The switch tabs aren't big enough to push through and bend over. Now there are other ways to do it, but to be quite honest with you, this is going to be a rather useful way of holding this, hopefully. So I'm going to try and get one tab soldered in, and then everything else should be fairly straightforward after that, I'm hoping. Yep, there's one, and now I've got one in. Just check it is in the right position. Yes it is, so I'll do the opposite corner next, using the same settings, and definitely with this lead-free solder a little bit more temperature compared to what I'm used to before has made all the difference. If you're somebody who's been using lead-free solder for a long time, you've probably been shouting at the screen telling me to turn the iron temperature up a bit, so apologies if my level of incompetence in the field here has caused you frustration. It was not my intention. So these are quite substantial switch tabs, and I haven't increased the temperature at all, but yeah, they seem to be soldering okay. If you happen to get some instruction on good soldering techniques from this video, hopefully you've now realised that my soldering is extremely average. In fact, that's probably being generous. It's probably extremely rubbish, but it sticks the components together, and it's been working for me. And I guess I'm a bit too old to change now, but hey, you know, you never know. But I'm not at all disappointed there with the behaviour of the lead-free solder. That seems absolutely fine. So that's the board completed, and there are some connections here for coaxial cable, but as I say, that will form part of another video. So I'm going to clean the board off with IPA now and put it aside ready for production for the next video. But as far as the Kaiweets solder station goes, it's the KOT936, and the Kaiweets solder pack. I will put links to those in the description for you, so you can see exactly what it is I've been using. Yeah, lead-free solder, not so bad at all. I guess if that's what I'd started with, I probably wouldn't know any difference. So hey, you know, yeah, that's okay. Okay, well, there you go. That's a bit of a look at the Kaiweets KOT936 soldering station with its attendant helping hands and lens, and also making use of the lead-free solder. If you want to see the conclusion of the kit build, you'll have to wait a few weeks for that. That video is still in production. But I thought as I'd got a circuit board ready to build, it was handy to actually do something with it and give it a proper field test. I've been impressed so far. It seems to work absolutely fine, and once I'd got the hang of the fact I needed a slightly higher temperature, it seemed to work just fine. So no complaints. If you are in the market for one, you've seen how it is, and if you think that's the kind of thing you'd like, well, you know, I'd say go for it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you are thinking of getting one, there are some links in the description. If you use those links, you'll get a discount, and that also makes a small contribution to the channel, which I will of course appreciate, as it doesn't cost nothing to make these things. There is obviously some expense involved, so you get a discount. It helps the channel. Everybody's happy, hopefully. Thanks very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.